3 chapters of jump scares. Which Poppy Playtime jump scare is the best and which is the worst? Well, without further ado, let's find out. So the first jump scare is going to be the mini huggies from the chapter 2 level. These jump scares feel like a more dumbed down huggy wuggy jump scare from the first chapter. I do like how they rip your face off. It's one of the only times this happens in the whole series, but there are better jump scares out there, and I kind of find the sound they make before they jump scare kind of gets rid of the horror factor to when you get jump scared. And I also am going to be counting all the variants of the mini huggy wuggy, as they're pretty much just different colors of the original blue one. This one's pretty good, but there's definitely better jump scares. Next is going to be the smiling critters, and these are the ones from the playhouse section in chapter 3. I like the fact that they can sneak up on you, and that can create a pretty cool jump scare where you do get scared, but the smiling critters are just very obvious when they're gonna jump scare you, and that's not gonna be the only reason why I find jump scares bad, because I do think Poppy Playtime's jump scares are pretty good. It was actually kind of hard to make this list, but for me there's definitely better jump scares than the smiling critters, and this also goes for the huggy wuggies, the little ones. There's definitely better ones as we go further on, but yeah, these ones aren't that bad. So next is going to be Bonzo Bunny from chapter 2. Bonzo Bunny is a pretty cool jump scare. During the jump scare, Bonzo grabs its 2 large golden symbols and proceeds to smash them into your head. I also like that before the scare, you can actually hear the symbols getting louder and louder, and that's an indicator on how close Bonzo is to jump scaring you. It's just an added level of detail that adds to the urgency of getting the correct notes, which is pretty easy to do on the earlier rounds, but the difficulty does scale and Bonzo does become a larger threat as you go through the level, which I like as well. Bonzo clapping his cymbals is just kind of like a panic inducer, and then when the jump scare hits, it's just a shock factor, and I find that it works really well for the first time, but after that first time, the jump scare does dwindle down a little. So next is going to be PJ Pugopilla. PJ has a really cool mechanic. If you see the room turn dark, you need to stop. If you don't do this, then PJ, when the lights do turn on, will hunt you down and jump scare you. Now this does add to that level of knowing when the jump scare happens, but I find that PJ's is a little different because there is a chance for you to run. However, it won't be long until PJ catches you and delivers a swift jump scare. This jump scare is really quick. What happens is PJ finds you, he grapples you and goes straight into you, probably eating you whole. And the worst part about PJ's jump scare is when you're in the tunnels and you don't know where exactly PJ is, but suddenly you get jump scared. That is where this jump scare really does scare you. So next is Mummy Longlegs. Mummy Longlegs is a little weird because on the one hand, the jump scare is amazing. I really like the way Mummy uses her really long legs to just close you in and just deliver the final blow. Really awesome stuff, but the fact is, it's very hard to get jump scared by Mummy. If you're not playing the game where you're trying to get jump scared, you're gonna really struggle because like the only ways to get jump scared is wait 10 seconds for her to count down, then you get jump scared, or fail to hide when she does pursue you. And it's very obvious where to hide, but if you don't do that, you will get jump scared, and it's a pretty cool jump scare. I also like the added detail that her eyes are like red, indicating that she's in danger mode, which I really think is a cool attention to detail. If this jump scare happened in a more stressful situation, and I do understand her chase level is a little stressful, but it's pretty easy to avoid her when you are in the chase. But yeah, if this jump scare happened in a more tenseful situation, I'd probably put it a little higher on the list. Next is Catnap. I really like Catnap's design. I think Catnap is a very awesome and cool looking character, definitely one of the scariest in the series, but the jump scare itself isn't the best. But just because of the design of Catnap, I find that it works. Thankfully, in this case, it works, but the jump scare itself is a little basic. Pretty much, Catnap pins you down, and then, well, you know the rest. Like when the jump scare does happen, either you didn't find the elevator in the first area you can get jump scared, or the boss fight you failed. And I always find boss fight jump scares never hit the same as a chase jump scare or a just normal in-game chase jump scare. It just isn't the same. I really like the animation of Catnap delivering the jump scare. First, Catnap, you know, puts you down, then eats you. I really like that. And yeah, nothing more to say. Let's move on to the next one, which is Dog Day. I really like Dog Day's jump scare. Okay, I really like how when you do get the jump scare, the face of Dog Day is very like really fluffy. It just adds to that uneasiness, and also the white eyes. I mean, they just look not inviting, right? These eyes are not friendly, and then the jump scare itself, pretty awesome. Dog Day just pretty much eats you. But again, like Mummy Longlegs, Dog Day's jump scare is pretty hard to get because the fact is, if you do the chase correctly, which honestly isn't that long and it's not that hard, you won't ever see this jump scare. But Dog Day's jump scare overall is very cool and one of my favorites in chapter 3. Next is Nightmare Huggy. And this jump scare, I mean, first of all, if you can even see it, I mean, look at this gameplay, you can barely see it. But beside that, the jump scare itself, the build up to this jump scare is definitely the best in the whole series. I mean, the creature literally goes out of the TV and proceeds to chase you down at incredibly high speeds. And then the jump scare is pretty much Huggies from the first chapter, but just a lot more just nightmarish. And also, this jump scare is one of the only ones that actually happens. This is a canon jump scare because after this jump scare, you wake up and then proceed through the house, which is really awesome. It just makes you feel like you're doomed when Huggy gets out of the TV and that there's no escape. That feeling also adds to the eventual suspense when the jump scare happens and you go like, oh, I'm dead. So next is Mr. Light. This is a fan favorite, I would say, because everyone can admit Mr. Light, there's something so terrifying about her design, first of all. The face being cracked open and being revealed during the jump scare, that is some really scary stuff. And also, the way she moves, you know, you only see her move when you don't look at her. If you look at her, she sits still and just stares at you. You will never actually see her move until it's too late and you're getting jump scared. I really find that Mr. Light's jump scare is a perfect blend of all the previous jump scares, but also adds a new level of fear that I really think nails the tone of chapter 3 extremely well. And number 1, this is Huggy Wuggy from chapter 1. Okay, we can all admit this jump scare is an absolute banger. First of all, the vent sequence. I'd say the vent sequence is a very awesome level. I mean, the whole chase itself is a full just thrill ride, and eventually, if you do get jump scared, it's an amazing experience. And the jump scare itself, it really feels like there's something in Huggy just wanting to just eat you instantly. And it feels like there's a costume revealing a more sinister being underneath it. It feels like something's grabbing you and just eating you whole. Very awesome stuff. And it's also a classic jump scare. This is what pretty much started this whole Poppy Playtime thing. So that's about it for this video. If you've enjoyed this video, smash a like, and if you never want to miss out on a future upload, then consider subscribing as well. And until next time, take it easy and goodbye.